Hi Taurus, welcome to your reading for Aries season. I'm doing you next because Venus will be entering your sign March 30th. So we're just a couple of days away from that. Actually, tomorrow. Today's the 29th. So this is a time where speed turns into comfort, turns into pleasure, turns into indulgence. With Libra in the full moon, the day right after Venus enters your sign, we shift the energies a little bit from being very Martian to very loving, very compassionate, very considerate, very outside of ourselves. Now for you, all of this Aries energy has allowed you to probably get into multiple things at a time without really feeling, without really experiencing the pleasure that you love and seek. Okay, it's wanting to have our hand in every opportunity all at once simultaneously. Okay, the cards in front of me are telling me that there's going to be a lot of transformations happening in this time between Venus entering your sign, between the full moon entering, the new moon, the full moon entering Libra on the 1st. Okay? So what is that transformation? An opportunity to be able to express yourself, an opportunity to have a new way of thinking, an opportunity to turn your life around and perhaps close out some chapters or some loose ends. Okay? This is an opportunity to be able to rectify opened conflict. Perhaps people that you had a fallen out with, people that ended on bad terms even. There's an opportunity to rectify those things because we've come from a place where we recognize exactly what we did wrong and how we took accountability. Okay, so although Venus is going to be shifting into your sign, we still have a lot of planets in Aries. You know, that Aries sun is all about the I am, the self. So this is a season and this is a time for you to start actually taking more accountability than I think you've ever done in your life. Okay, it's also recognizing where your bad patterns are at, where you indulge in too much, you know, where to shift the scales from being excessive to moderate now. All right. So being excessive is not just in terms of irresponsibility and speed, but it's also how much you're giving yourself away or to. All right. And these are going to be some conversations that I think either you have with yourself or you end up having with someone else that, you know, is involved or in these spaces where perhaps you were just doing without thinking. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that has happened or occurred a lot for you, especially during this Aries season time. So let me just put out all these cards here and then fix them so they look all nice and neat for the camera. A lot of them popped out, so we're gonna take it. All right. I may have to read these two at a time. Okay. The need to be able to transform has a lot to do with clarity that you've gotten recently. Okay? And this clarity has really, it's like, here's the thing. I see it in two ways. It is a clarity after being so confused and so overwhelmed or having so many options presented to you, right? That you probably never made a decision on something before. So that could be the clarity of finally being able to see something or notice the difference into chaos. Okay, because I think there was just so much that was blinding you, distracting you, that you were not able to make a concrete decision over something, or you were contemplating how to approach it, but there was just so many obstacles or what seemed to be obstacles in front of you That now by Aries season, you are able to finally decide what road, what route, or what to say. Okay? Now, when you were in a state of confusion, a lot of it had to do with your environment. And a lot of it had to do with constantly being in a routine or in a rut. Okay, so I think that's where the confusion also came from as well, is that you were so used to just being a certain way, or you were used to so many things just working out in your favor. You never really had to practice putting energy into something, putting time and consistency into something. Not saying that you're not smart or capable, or this is how you are in general. This is just a specific thing. But Taurus, you are known to be someone who likes to indulge in pleasure and comfort and just lounging around, right? So Aries season was not letting you do that. You were very go, go, go. So you were also presented yourself in a position to have to really be more engaging and more involved into a specific area in your life that you had to make some choices. Okay, so you had to make some choices. You had to see multiple things. You have maybe a bunch of things that you want to pursue all at the same time and not knowing what to do with it. It could be lots of things, right? But prior to that, everything just kind of came so easy for you that you never really had to put effort. You never really had to manifest. And it wasn't allowing any positive changes or steering you in the path. You were just kind of at a standstill. Okay, so this is where the move is coming from. And I feel like this can all be very emotional stuff. This can be people, situations that have happened a long time ago that you still carry with you, that it's time for you to release and, rebalance where you should take accountability and where your responsibilities are when it comes to interactions and relationships with others. Okay. Now, Aries season has also propped you up to be extremely independent financially. So maybe your emotions or that clarity that you get is also tied with your personal value and worth. Maybe there's more you want to do. Maybe you don't want to depend on your family or your friends or a specific job or a career or an idea. That feeling overwhelmed is realizing you want to do multiple things. You have multiple interests now. This kind of energy comes in. You're not really used to, but you're not complaining about it either. I think you like it. I think for the first time you feel consistent and disciplined enough to actually focus your energy on one thing and to also do it with a little more speed than what you're used to. You are a little slower paced in comparison to an Aries, which did feel like you were constantly hung up. But now you're kind of out of the trenches. This is a mental thing. Your emotions and the way you think are not directly tied. But right now, I think you're able to get out of your head and at the same time, kind of boss up, level up, not be the type of person that says they'll do something and then never get to do it. The unreliable person, the one that no one can really count on, even when it comes to yourself. This can also be very internal. And I feel like it is, Taurus. I feel like a lot of these realizations that you're going to have has so much to do with your own personal growth and development that light, that clarity really isn't shining bright enough for everyone else to see. Kind of like, who is it? Who else had the same kind of theme? I believe it was your opposite sign of Scorpio. There's a transformation, we got 2 8s here, and a realization of something, but it's a very personal thing. Okay, it is something that is only meant for you to see and realize, and it's not going to put you in the spotlight to be exposed towards others. That exposure is just for your eyes only. And with everything in Aries, of course, it's I am, it's the self. So a lot of people are going through a time where they're going to have a lot of realizations and take accountability within themselves to kind of improve their own life, to see which wars are still continuing in the background that kind of need to put an end to. Okay? So right now we have the moon and we have the King of Wands in the reverse. What is this? Here's another 8. As I said, this is mental. Okay. So your mind sometimes can be your own worst enemy. And I think that's how you're able to get out of this 10 of swords in the reverse. You realize that despite having all these swords around, I don't know if you could see with the reflection of the light, although they're bound by their arms and they cannot see, they can still walk. So that clarity you also get allows you to realize where you're still mobile. You are a very strong and tough sign. Anything that is thrown at you, you can handle. But I think you forget that there's other options that you can take. Or perhaps you realize the only option that you can take, you avoided for so long. And it's like, now it's just time to utilize it. Okay? No more making excuses. So you're able to go from the 10 to the 8, which to me is a great progression. Even though you're going backwards in terms of numbers, it's still a progression because the 10 of swords is being pinned down. It's being knocked down. Of course, you have to get up, but you are by not allowing yourself to be pinned to the floor anymore. You know, that hangman is also in reverse too. We're getting out of the slump that we've kept ourselves in. And that could be a mindset, that could be guilt, that could be anything you want it. We are leaving it behind here, right? So it allows you to kind of get out of the slumps you've always kept yourself in and walk despite being wounded, despite feeling depleted. You're just tired. So now you just want to move. You don't want to stay in the same place anymore, which I think is great, right? So if some of you have not gotten out of your own way yet, it will come. I think you just have to get kind of sick of your own crap. And then those bounds, that scale shifts. We go from the justice in the beginning to the 6 of Pentacles in the end. Everything is within your control. You decide which spectrum you want to be in, the receiver or the giver. Okay? You have control. Okay, let's see what your oracle messages are. We have wisdom. So this is also a time to gain clarity and wisdom. All right. And, you know, as a sign who attracts things and ruled by Venus, like your fellow sign Libra, I think you're also going to realize that the way you communicate and the way you think about yourself also attracts the kind of opportunities that have presented itself to you. So we really want to shift our mindset and really just be mindful of how often we are pessimistic or believe that we're not deserving of things, because they will formulate that way. And I think you should do a trial and error on that. Beauty, which Libra got the same card. So this is a beautiful time right now for you to change not only your surroundings, but how you value yourself, how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you think about yourself, and transforming it into something more positive. You're meant to do that. We got another 8 here. So this really is a transformational time right now. It's being able to catch the pessimism, the lack of self, what's, you know, the excuses, your comfort zone that you make, and being able to walk down the road you're supposed to be walking on with a little more speed. Allow this time to help you out in Aries season. Okay? I'm going to leave that there, Taurus. Your reading is very focused on self. And I think that's a great thing, because you're always making sure everyone feels safe and secure and stable. And I think it's time that you kind of shift a little bit of that space for yourself. Okay? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If this reading resonated, please leave a comment below. My link is also in my bio if you want a personal reading with Zoom, or you can follow me on Instagram. Check out the events that I will be attending in. If you want like an actual in-person reading with me, come out and see me. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in your season, Taurus. Bye.